Hey, boys and girls, today we're going to read the last chapter of Jake Drake Know-It-All, Chapter 11, Winners. Then came the weekend before the science fair. Willie and I spent all Saturday and Sunday finishing our posters. We planned what we would say to the judges. We planned how to explain our conclusion. We also had to be ready to explain our method. That's the part where we tested our idea. Judges can ask any questions they want about any part of the project. So you know what you have to be? Sorry, you have to be a know-it-all, at least about your own project, unless you have a good partner like Willie. Then you can be a know about half. Willie and I were ready. We even remembered to buy 4 new batteries so the magnets would work just right. On the Tuesday of the science fair, we brought our project to the school gym at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That was part of the rules. We had an hour and a half to get everything ready. Then the judging would start at 6:30. The gym was like a pot of water on a stove. The whole place felt like it was humming and bubbling, getting ready to boil over. Kids were everywhere, and so were parents. Both my dad and Willie's dad came along to help us hang our posters. Willie's dad had gone to an office store for us. He got one of those tall cardboard fold-up things. It was just the right size to hold our 3 posters. There were numbered tables in rows up and down the floor, and there was a list of names by the door. Next to every name there was a number, and ours was 45. Table number 45 was a good one, right along the back wall, except that it was next to table number 46. And table number 46 was Kevin Young's table. It was hard not to look at Kevin's stuff. He had 3 posters just like ours, except his didn't look like ours. We had used markers to write the biggest word on our posters. We had used colored pencils and crayons to make our drawings. We had written out our words by hand. Not Kevin. All the writing on his posters had been printed out from a computer, and so had his pictures. And all the papers and letters and pictures had been glued onto Kevin's posters. We had glued some things onto our posters too. We had some drawings and a great picture of a junkyard electromagnet holding up a crushed car. It's hard to glue stuff right, so some of our pictures had some little bumps and ridges in them. And so did our writing papers. Not Kevin's. I don't know how he did it, but every picture on his writing was glued down perfectly flat. My dad looked at Kevin's posters. He nodded at Kevin's dad and said, "Great posters." Kevin's dad looked a lot like Kevin. He had the same red hair and blue eyes. He smiled at my dad and said, "Thanks. We worked pretty hard on them." See that? How Kevin's dad said "we"? I looked around at the other projects near us, and most of them looked like grown-ups had helped too. It didn't seem very fair. All of a sudden, I wish I had let my dad help us, because deep down, I still thought it would be nice to win that Blentinium 12 computer. Kevin looked over our stuff once or twice, and I thought I saw him smile a little, but it wasn't a nice smile. It was a put-down smile. But we had too much to do to think about Kevin for very long. We got our magnets wired up, we got our cans of soup and tuna stacked up, we laid out our notebooks and our method records, and when everything was set up, we had 40 minutes left over. So our dads took us out for hamburgers and chocolate shakes. The food was good, but Willie and I were pretty nervous. At 6:30 the judges started. There were 6 of them, science and math teachers from the junior high school. First, they all just walked together up and down the rows of tables. Then they started at table number 72, the last table, and we had to wait and wait and wait. It took a long time for the judges to get to our row. Then it was another 10 minutes before they got to Kevin at table 46. It was good to hear the judges ask questions before it was our turn, and Kevin was good at answering them. He really was. He had done this experiment making ants learn how to go through a maze. He wanted to show that if ants can't smell, they get lost. Ants leave something like an odor where they walk, and if one ant goes through the maze, it leaves a trail so others can follow. So after one ant went through the maze, Kevin let another one go, and it followed the same path. Then he painted the maze with lemon juice, let it dry, and let another ant go. The second ant got stuck and Kevin proved his hypothesis. It was a good project, even if Kevin did get help from his dad. Then it was our turn. The lady judge started. She asked Willie to explain what we wanted to prove. Willie pointed to our posters and told how electromagnets work and how we wanted to see what made the bigger difference, more wire or more power. He was great. Willie smiled and he sounded like he was having fun, because he was, and I could tell the judges liked that. Then it was my turn. I had to explain our method. I took it slow, step by step, and while I talked, Willie hooked up the red magnet to 2 batteries and lifted the 2 cans of tuna. Then he added 2 more batteries and picked up 4 cans. Then Willie took over talking. I hooked up 2 batteries to the blue magnet, the one that had more wire on it. And with 2 batteries, the blue magnet would pick up 4 cans. And with 4 batteries, it picked up 8 cans of tuna. I could tell that the judges liked what we were doing. Our results were different from what we had thought they would be, but we explained it all in our conclusion just right. We used the scientific method. It was a good experiment. Kevin was watching too, but I couldn't tell what he was thinking. He didn't smile or frown, and he hardly even blinked. Then it was over, and it felt great. I looked at Willie, and he had that smile on his face, the really big one. And right then, I knew I didn't care if we won anything or not. The judges moved on. Then it was time for more waiting, a lot more waiting. So Willie and I went to look around. There was a lot of neat stuff to see. There were projects about cameras, about fruit, earthworms, carbon dioxide from plants, fruit flies, fossils, hot air balloons, soap bubbles, different kinds of sand, and a really great one on electric guitar sounds, and tons more. We found Marcia's table, but we didn't go over. That's because she looked sad and kind of mad too, like she might start crying or yelling or something. Her posters looked great. There was this upside down cake pan inside a box with a window cut in one side. The pan was hanging above a little light bulb with a window cut in one side. The pan was hanging above a little light bulb. I could tell from the posters that the pan had some grass growing from it. Willie said, "What's wrong with her?" I shrugged and didn't say anything, but I thought I knew why. Maybe it was because if you always feel like you have to be the best, I lost my place. If you always have to be the best, it's hard because a lot of the time someone else does just as well or even better. Anyway, we kept walking. We looked at all the 3rd grade projects, and after I saw them all, I knew which one was going to win. There wasn't any question about it. About a half hour later, it was time for the announcements. Everyone went into the auditorium. Willie and I sat in the 10th row, and our dad sat behind us. Mr. Liddy Cordo was there, and all the computer boxes were stacked up on the stage. It was pretty exciting. The judges announced the 5th grade winners first. Ellen Stone won the grand prize. She'd done the project about electric guitar sounds. And second place went to Mark Nixon for a project about temperature and soap bubbles. The 4th grade winner was Charles Leclerc. He had studied the hardness of different kinds of rocks. And second place went to Amy Martin's project about veins and leaves. Then it was time for the 3rd grade. My dad put his hand on my shoulder and gave a little squeeze. And the winner was Pete Morris, just like I knew it would be. That's a point in the story where you think something else is going to happen, because usually the main character of the story gets what they want. But Jake Drake didn't win. Pete had done his project about insect eggs and how different daylight hours make the eggs hatch. He had found some praying mantis eggs. He'd put some lights on a timer and had made the eggs hatch 2 months early. It was like he'd tricked them with the light. And there was this big glass box with about 20 baby praying mantises walking around on their little green legs. The great thing was that Pete had started this project back in October. That was almost 3 months before Miss Carp announced the science fair. He wasn't doing the project to try to be better or smarter than anyone else, and he didn't do it to try to win a new computer. He did it because he really wanted to figure something out. Like I said, Pete's a science kid. Willie and I were standing up, clapping for Pete. Then the head judge said, and second prize in third grade goes to Phil Willis and Drake Drake for their project on electromagnets. Then they called all of us up onto the stage, and we had to shake hands with the judges, and then with Miss Carp and Mr. Lenny Cordo. And Willie and I each got a little trophy that said second place, first annual Dupree Elementary School Science Fair. It was the best thing I'd ever won. And it wouldn't have been half as fun without Willie there smiling the biggest smile at me. We went back to the gym to take our project apart. Kevin and his dad were there at the table 46. His dad looked kind of mad, but Kevin didn't. He said, "Nice trophy." I said, "Thanks. I thought your project was really good." Kevin said, "I guess. Too bad you didn't win first place." I said, "Yeah." But really, I didn't think it was too bad. I was happy with second place, and here's why. You see, Pete's project was the best. He would have won no matter what. And second place? Maybe I could have won second place all by myself, but I don't think so. Willie did a lot to make the project better. Plus, we had fun. Plus, we did it all ourselves. The best part about the science fair was that suddenly it was all over. I didn't have to think about it anymore. I didn't have to keep track of all those papers and batteries and pieces of wire. When we took everything apart, Willie kept the blue magnet and I took the one with the red wire. Whenever I open my junk drawer now, there it is. But the trophy is on my shelf. I keep it there to remind myself that there's one thing I never want to be again, ever, and that's Jake Drake, know-it-all. So he learned that the best thing was to work with his friends and work together, and it wasn't all about winning a prize. So it's better to work with your friends and to really learn something that you're interested in than to make a 100 or get first place or get an all A certificate. It's more about actually learning the material and using it in your life and having fun. So today for your slide, this is your last slide. You're going to compare Jake and Willie's project to Kevin's project. How are they different? And in the middle, how are they the same? This is a Venn diagram. How are they different? How are they the same? And then right here, you're going to put two themes. The theme of the story is what the author wants the reader to learn. It is the message or the moral of the story. So what lesson did they want you to learn? So think about Jake Drake. We just kind of talked about that. How Jake learned that it's not just about a prize, it's about actually learning the material. And he learned about friendship, that you shouldn't just cut your friends out to win a computer or to win something special. You should always be friends and let them help you. He also learned about working together. That working together makes things better. You learn more when you work together. So there are lots of different themes you could put here for 1 and 2. I hope y'all have a great day.